Well, let's talk about a little digression, because it's not all about the work, on the set with the ladies. Good hands there, Melissa. I want to talk a little bit about how you guys interact with fans, how social media plays a part in what you do. And what's pretty cool is that Jackee and I are sitting here because I was harassing you on Twitter enough for you to follow me, and now we're tweeting once or twice a week. And obviously, well, can we tell you? Yeah, go ahead.
Dave is responsible for me being on Twitter. For years, he kept on saying you need to get on the Twitter. And
what did you say?
I was like, no,
Me too.
I'm so scared of it,
Yeah.
no. And we kind of made a deal that I would get on Twitter and you would move to LA. That was pretty much like the same.
Yeah.
It was in that conversation,
Yeah.
I think, that we both had made that decision. I really didn't want to.
Me either.
You didn't?
No, because everybody knows where you are, your business. But my girlfriend, Eva Marcel, she told me, I said, why do you do it? She said, because it keeps you current and relevant. I was like, what does that mean? And she's right. We wouldn't be sitting here now. But it keeps you right in the now of the moment. You know? And you have to be a curious person to be on Twitter. You can't just be on there just to get fans.
Yeah.
It really doesn't work that way, or to get fans to watch your stuff. You really have to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people know that you're not that bright, or you're just a liar. And you can't be a liar, which I have just found out. When you lie, it really does catch up with you. You know what I mean?
On Twitter and in real life.
Yes, you can't keep it together. You know what I mean? And your work suffers when you're just covering up all the time. It really is just a mess.
Yeah, Melissa, what's your social media policy in terms of how much you can give of yourself and share everything with the fans and that whole thing?
I pretty much just if I think of a joke, I'll tweet it, or if I want to talk about the show that night, I'll tell everyone to tune in. But I don't talk about I did this today with this person at this time at this place. And this is my blood type and my social security number. I'm kind of very all right, I'm gonna tweet this now because I had this idea.
Yeah.
But I'm not on it a lot.
Now, Jackee, you give a lot of very personal, sort of heartwarming advice. Where did that come from?
From me wanting to be a mentor to young ladies, specifically from age 16 to 54. Yeah. And I say that specifically because sometimes you look across the table and you're the only woman, like that book Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. You're not the only person out there. You can look across the table and see, like the Yahoo woman. I met her, I was gagging. Because you don't have anybody. Hillary Clinton, when she looks across the room, there's nobody there, but they're out there. So put it out there so people can know you're not alone. You know what I mean? So don't feel like, oh, and you come in your room and I know you close your door and you go, because it'll beat you down, because the husband, the children, and women feel guilt. And I'm telling them, feel guiltless. Yeah. It's harder, but if you're successful, you're going to be alone. Even if you're married, because you're going to be in that hotel room after a gig, at some point by yourself having to deal with something dreadfully lonely, which is, where's my check? And, I mean, things.
But now you have Twitter to keep you connected with the world.
Yes, it keeps you connected so you don't go into some pit of self-pity sometimes, you know?
Do you ever feel that the fans demand, they want the sort of insider, who is Melissa Rauch kind of thing?
I don't know. Do you think I should do more of an insider thing?
I think we're doing it. We're doing it right now.
I will do whatever you tell me to do on Twitter, Dave Rubin.
Yeah?
You're responsible for getting me on Twitter.
Yeah.
So you tell me what I need to do.
I think you're doing it right.
Okay.
I think you're doing it right.
Okay.
So you guys are getting a little bit of your voices out, but I want to talk about your voices, because both of you, another thing you guys have in common is so much of what you do is based on your characters' voices that are kind of like your real voices, but not quite. So Melissa, I'll start with you, because Bernadette, I know where Bernadette comes from, but can you give the people, where does the voice come from?
Bernadette's voice is very similar to my mother's. Except without the Jersey accent, say. But it's my mother. It's not quite that high, but it's in that tone, in that range.
And do people think that's what you're supposed to sound like at all the time? When people say hi to you and then you don't sound like that, do they freak?
Yeah. I think sometimes I'll get recognized and then they'll hear my voice and be like, oh, that's not you. That's not you. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. It's not
yeah, like you're putting on a fake voice for them in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what about you, Jackee? Where did Sandra's voice, that real high pitch, where did that come from the first time?
I had a girlfriend in school, her name was Val Jean Dean, and she had asthma. And we were out one day, and this is the one that gave me my first joint.
Yeah.
And wine. Anyway, Boone's Farm. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Anyway, it
Down
was
in
cheap
Boone.
wine, and we were out, and it was Christmas, and it was cold, and we were outside smoking. I'm like, oh, I'm so cold. She's like, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, frost nipping at your ass. And I never forgot that. And Lucille Ball and Mae West. So it's the combination of all
kinda just-
three.
yeah.
And the walk just came from, I don't know, one day my skirt was so tight. It was every day. I just, and they laughed and they said, do some more. And the late, great Brandon Tartikoff was my angel. So I talked to you earlier about angels.
Yeah.
He gave me the job because I was not going to get the job. And he said, no, she's got the job, And he said, no, just do more of that. And, you kind of go, isn't it too much? No,
Yeah.
And Byron's like that now. Do that, because people won't tell you to do that. Because I can tell you from your character from the first time, you've definitely evolved. I can see it because they want you to do more, and they've written it for you. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you might have held back. You think, you know what I mean? You might have been okay. She all right. You know what I mean? As
Do
opposed to,
they always want more out of Bernadette? Do they always want more character and more everything? Because I see what you're saying with Sandra, certainly.
They don't specifically say it. No, I think the great thing about our writers is that it's very
They write
much
it.
like in the script.
so that's more you.
They're fantastic. It's all there. We get these little presents of these fantastic.
What kind of
scripts.
presents?
Oh, that's the script present.
Oh.
I don't
The
get
jokes, the
presents.
jokes that are on there.
Jokes.
Y'all get presents?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So the last thing about the public personal life. Do you ever miss the anonymity? Like it's all great. It seems all great on the outside, but do you ever miss any of the freedom to just be able to go do your thing and not have anyone point at you or any of that stuff?
I definitely. I mean, I feel like I'm doing what I've always loved to do, so I can't complain about that. There's some weird things like just I really like to go to like the grocery store in my sweats, and I'm realizing recently that I'm horrifying people with my no makeup and I often dress like a 14-year-old prepubescent boy in my time off. Like that is my go-to look.
Which is what exactly?
It's like a baseball hat. Actually, when I lived in New York, I was walking to do a show one night, and it was like, I was walking, I think, from my apartment on the Upper East Side to one of the clubs, and I was in a baseball hat and a jean jacket, and I had a book bag on, which is like basically how I would like to dress all the time. And I was passing by a school that was getting out, and I felt a hand on my backpack that pulled me back, and it was the principal, and I turned
my
around
God.
and he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I thought you were one of the kids who was getting out early. So basically that's how I dress, is
Yeah.
like a schoolboy on the Upper East Side of New York.
Yeah. Jackee, do you miss it at all? Just a little bit of the anonymity? And
I miss the fact that I can't go on a date with a guy and then we go out for a couple of dates and then I realize they're only going out with me because I'm Jackee. That I hate.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it, but it's like, and I didn't think it was me, but it's like, man, like, they're cool. Then you take them to a big A-list party and they lose their mind. And you realize, oh, shoot. It
Yeah.
really is. That's what I miss. I miss that.
So how do you meet a guy then? How would you meet a guy?
I don't know, I'm on the corner handing out flyers.
Bonobos.com is the official outfitter of the Rubin Report. Enter code TRR20 for 20% off your first purchase.